Ever felt weirdly out of tune and just can't pinpoint why? You might be accidentally tripping up your spiritual vibe. Hang in there, because we're about to reveal 9 spiritual no-nos you should steer clear of. This could be exactly what you need to dive deeper into your spiritual journey. Spiritual bypassing is something a lot of us do without even realizing it. It's when we use spiritual ideas or activities to dodge the hard stuff, like dealing with our feelings or tough situations. It's kind of like slapping a spiritual quick fix on something that needs more time to heal, skipping the real journey we need to take. This can actually keep us from getting to the real spiritual growth we're after, making us think we're all enlightened, when really, we're not dealing with the important, messy stuff inside. Plus, it's super important to not ignore the hard parts of our spiritual journey. We might want to just focus on the good vibes, but facing our challenges, doubts, and fears head-on is what really pushes us forward spiritually. Dealing with these tough bits not only makes our spiritual path richer, but also helps us get to know our true selves better, connecting us more deeply with everything around us. Avoiding these spiritual slip-ups helps us move toward a deeper, more genuine spiritual awakening, one that embraces every part of us and leads to a more complete and enlightened life. Embracing authentic growth. Understanding spirituality means acknowledging that it's not about dodging hard feelings, but rather moving through them with genuine awareness and truthfulness. Then there's the issue of a legalistic approach to spirituality, which sees individuals strictly clinging to religious or spiritual regulations without a true sense of empathy or insight. It's as if they're sticking to a script without considering the broader context or how their actions affect others. This kind of rigid adherence can stifle spiritual development, breeding a judgmental and closed-off outlook. Those with a legalistic viewpoint may place a higher value on following traditions and rules than on showing compassion and kindness. This inflexible way of thinking can create barriers to understanding and empathy for those who might live or believe differently, fostering division by valuing strict rule, following over a more inclusive, loving approach to spirituality. Adding to this, the journey of spiritual growth is enriched not just by recognizing and moving beyond these obstacles, but by cultivating an environment of openness and inclusivity. True spiritual enlightenment is about more than just personal peace. It's about extending understanding, compassion, and unity to the world around us. By navigating through our own challenges with authenticity and encouraging others to do the same, we foster a community of spiritual seekers who value depth, understanding, and connection over superficial tranquility. This approach not only deepens our own spiritual journey, but also contributes to a more empathetic and interconnected world, where differences are not just tolerated, but celebrated as part of the rich tapestry of human experience. Negativity and toxic influences. Negativity and toxic influences can come from the people around us or the situations we find ourselves in. These negative influences can make us feel sad, angry, or hopeless. It's like constantly being around a dark cloud that can rain on our parade. To keep our inner peace, it's important to be aware of these negative vibes and find ways to stay positive. Sometimes friends or family might be the source of this negativity. They might criticize us too much or always see the bad side of things. It's tough when negativity comes from people we care about, but it's important to protect our own feelings and not let their outlook bring us down. We can listen to them, try to help, but also know when to step back and take care of our own happiness. Toxic influences can also come from social media or the news. Seeing bad news all the time or comparing ourselves to others online can make us feel worse. It's good to take breaks from these platforms and focus on real-life interactions and activities that make us feel good. This helps us keep a healthy mind and not get overwhelmed by all the negativity that's out there. Guarding our inner peace means making choices that help us stay calm and happy. This might mean spending more time doing things we love, like hobbies or being in nature. It also means being with people who support us and make us feel good about ourselves. When we choose positivity, we build a shield around our inner peace. Finally, it's important to develop habits that strengthen our ability to deal with negativity. Practices like meditation, deep breathing, or writing in a journal can help us process our feelings and find peace. By regularly practicing these habits, we get better at keeping negative thoughts and feelings from taking over. This way, we can maintain our inner peace even when faced with challenging situations or people. From legalism to compassion, spirituality should be a heart-led journey that promotes deep connections and insights. Yet sometimes it's reduced to a mere series of tasks and prohibitions, leading some to believe they're superior just because they adhere strictly to these rules. This mentality detracts from the true purpose of spirituality, which is to develop a kind and understanding relationship with both ourselves and those around us. To move away from this rigid mindset, it's crucial to understand that spirituality is more about evolving and growing on a personal level than about strict adherence to specific guidelines. Adopting a perspective filled with kindness and empathy can pave the way for a richer understanding of the various paths people take in their spiritual quests. Transitioning from a mindset of strict rule-following to one of understanding and empathy can foster a spiritual environment that is welcoming and profoundly transformative. In the realm of spirituality, being overly concerned with material gains, societal status, or earthly desires can lead us astray from our inner development and spiritual quest. It's akin to running after fleeting achievements while neglecting the cultivation of our inner selves. Falling into the trap of materialistic distractions hampers true spiritual growth, as it places more importance on what's temporary rather than what's lasting. Individuals caught up in this cycle may focus on gathering material goods or seeking approval from others as markers of their spiritual progress. Yet this outward orientation typically results in a superficial and ephemeral sense of fulfillment, bypassing the deep, enduring satisfaction that comes from sincere spiritual exploration. Moreover, navigating through the maze of materialism requires a deliberate shift in focus towards the spiritual values of mindfulness, gratitude, and contentment. By consciously choosing to prioritize these inner qualities over external achievements, we can cultivate a more meaningful and fulfilling spiritual life. This approach not only enriches our personal spiritual journey, but also encourages a collective shift towards valuing spiritual depth and inner peace over material success, leading to a more compassionate and connected world. Inner growth over material pursuits. Genuine spiritual development is about looking inward to uncover the deep facets of our essence. In contrast, the lure of materialism draws us outward into a never-ending loop of wanting and acquiring, which fails to provide real, enduring happiness. It's important to understand that external luxuries may offer fleeting satisfaction, but fall short of fulfilling the soul's deeper cravings. To steer clear of materialistic temptations, shifting our attention to self-reflection, being present in the moment, and gaining insight is vital. By realizing the transient nature of material belongings and recognizing that genuine contentment originates from within, people can escape the relentless pursuit of material wealth and focus their efforts on meaningful spiritual discovery. The consequences of engaging in thoughtless speech and overlooking spiritual disciplines are profound. Thoughtless speech means speaking impulsively, uttering words that might hurt others or sow discord. Ignoring spiritual disciplines involves overlooking regular practices that foster a deeper sense of connection and personal growth. Indulging in thoughtless speech can lead to unawareness of the impact our words have on our spiritual surroundings and on others. Words hold energy and intention, and speaking without consideration can spread negativity, obstructing the creation of a spiritually enriching environment. This act is akin to sowing seeds of conflict rather than nurturing a garden of peace. Material obsessions. Material obsessions mean caring too much about things we own, like gadgets, clothes, or cars, more than what truly matters in life. When people focus only on buying and having more things, they miss out on finding real happiness and purpose. Owning the newest or the best items might feel good for a moment, but this happiness doesn't last long. Chasing after material things can lead us into a never-ending cycle. We keep wanting more, thinking it will make us happy, but it doesn't fill the empty space inside that really needs attention. This cycle can make us forget about the important parts of life, like spending time with family, helping others, or growing personally and spiritually. When we give too much importance to possessions, we might ignore our inner voice that guides us toward our true purpose. Our purpose could be something like making a difference in the community, learning new skills, or finding peace within ourselves. But if we're too busy chasing things, we might not hear that call. Breaking free from material obsessions starts with realizing that the best things in life aren't things at all. It's about valuing experiences, relationships, and personal growth. By focusing less on what we want to own and more on what we want to become, we can find deeper satisfaction and a more meaningful life. Beyond ego and closed minds. Overlooking regular spiritual disciplines introduces additional obstacles in the path of spiritual development. Practices like meditation and prayer act as stabilizing forces, keeping individuals anchored throughout their spiritual voyage. Being unreceptive to varied spiritual philosophies can obstruct authentic spiritual advancement. This attitude reflects a reluctance to investigate or embrace beliefs that diverge from one's established spiritual views. It's akin to erecting barriers around personal beliefs, curtailing opportunities for growth and broader comprehension. The tendency towards closed-mindedness means clinging to a single spiritual outlook while disregarding others. Such inflexibility can stifle individual evolution by blocking out the vast array of spiritual philosophies and insights. Genuine spiritual evolution requires a receptivity to diverse experiences and viewpoints. Closed-mindedness serves as a hindrance to such receptivity, restricting the chance to absorb teachings from different traditions, practices, and understandings. Adopting an attitude of openness enables one to draw lessons from a multitude of sources, leading to a more enriched and holistic spiritual perspective. To counteract closed-mindedness, acknowledging that a variety of spiritual viewpoints can enrich rather than detract from one's spiritual path is crucial. Viewing differences not with apprehension, but as an opportunity for deeper spiritual appreciation, encourages a broader exploration of the spiritual spectrum, making the journey more inclusive and rewarding. Spirituality driven by the ego is a significant barrier to real spiritual progression. This occurs when individuals leverage their spiritual beliefs to inflate their ego or sense of dominance over others. It's comparable to puffing up a balloon of self-importance with spiritual notions, moving away from the humility and self-reflection vital for sincere spiritual engagement. Engaging in egocentric spirituality involves leveraging one's spiritual insights or achievements to claim superiority over others. This approach detracts from spirituality's core purpose, which is inner transformation and fostering connections, rather than using it as a means for self-aggrandizement. Embracing humility. Authentic spiritual development is rooted in humility and a keen sense of self, appreciating that each person's path is distinct, filled with its own teachings and hurdles. Spirituality fueled by ego, however, obscures one's flaws and hampers the capacity to connect with others on a meaningful level. Remembering that spirituality is a collective quest for deeper insight and empathy, not a battleground for superiority, is essential. To transcend the limitations of egocentric spirituality, it's necessary to embrace humility and true self-awareness, admitting our own faults and valuing each person's unique spiritual journey. This transformation from an ego-based to a humility-oriented approach is crucial for fostering a spiritual practice centered on personal evolution and authentic relationships. Over-reliance on rituals in spiritual practices can also stifle real spiritual awakening. This occurs when rituals are followed blindly, making spiritual expressions more about routine than a genuine reflection of inner faith. Practicing rituals without mindful intention or comprehension can result in a hollow experience, where the emphasis is misplaced on outward practices rather than on inward change. Authentic spiritual advancement hinges on a thorough grasp of the ritual's purposes. Moreover, an overly ritualistic approach can sever the connection to one's spiritual practice, turning it into a mechanical action instead of an engaged spiritual dialogue. The risk here is equating ritual repetition with spiritual growth, ignoring the core spiritual message. To move past an overly ritualistic practice, engaging with rituals mindfully and with clear intention is key. Comprehending the deeper meaning behind each ritual enhances the spiritual journey, focusing not on how often or how many rituals are performed, but on the depth of connection and inner reflection they inspire. Ignoring intuition. Ignoring intuition means not listening to that little voice inside us that tells us how we really feel about a situation or decision. This inner voice is like a guide that helps us know what is right or wrong for us even when it's not obvious. When we don't listen to this voice, we might end up making choices that don't really fit with who we are or what we want in life. Our intuition is built from our experiences and feelings. It's a powerful tool that helps us sense danger or recognize when something is really good for us. When we ignore this sense, we might stay in bad situations too long, like being in a job we hate or with friends who don't treat us well. Listening to our gut feelings can help us avoid these problems. Ignoring our intuition can also mean missing out on great opportunities. Our inner voice might be telling us to take a chance on something new, like a job, a move, or a relationship. If we always ignore these nudges, we might never know what we could have achieved or how happy we could have been. To avoid these dangers, it's good to practice listening to our intuition. This can be as simple as taking a quiet moment to think about how we feel about a decision instead of rushing or just doing what others expect. The more we listen to our inner voice, the stronger and clearer it becomes. This way, we can make better choices that lead to a happier and more authentic life. Harmonizing spiritual growth. Focusing too much on specific goals or expectations in your spiritual path can actually hold back your progress. This happens when people get too caught up in wanting certain things to happen, setting up strict benchmarks that don't really go with the unpredictable nature of personal growth. Getting too attached to certain hopes or outcomes can put a lot of pressure on yourself, leading to feelings of disappointment and frustration when things don't go according to plan. The best way to grow spiritually is to stay flexible and open, welcoming change and development as it comes, instead of trying to stick to a strict plan. Looking to spirituality simply as a way to dodge life's hurdles and duties can also stall real personal growth. This is when people start leaning on their spiritual routines just to get away from the complexities and challenges life throws at them. When spirituality becomes just an escape route, you might end up ignoring important life responsibilities and issues. It's like turning a blind eye to everyday life and diving deep into spiritual activities alone. Real spirituality finds a sweet spot between spiritual pursuits and the practicalities of everyday life. Using spirituality as a mere escape can lead to a gap between what you believe spiritually and what you actually live out. It's critical to understand that spiritual growth also happens through facing life's ups and downs, where real lessons are learnt and true wisdom is found. To avoid falling into the trap of using spirituality as an escape, it's key to blend your spiritual practice with a practical and responsible lifestyle. This involves tackling real-life problems head-on, keeping up with your duties, and using what you learn spiritually to help you through life's challenges. Conclusion: a balanced spiritual life means that the insights and growth you achieve on the inside have a positive impact on your overall life. If you've stuck around till now, thank you for your time. If you like what you've heard and want to hear more, hitting the subscribe button would mean a lot. Your support really matters. Feel free to drop your thoughts or share your own journey in the comments. Until we meet again, take good care and keep an eye out for more enriching discussions. Adding to this, embracing spiritual growth requires recognizing that true enlightenment and understanding come from the integration of spiritual knowledge with everyday actions and decisions.